Hi, I'm Holly.
And I'm Charisse.
And welcome to the Ask Mom series on when to date. It's a good question, really. Actually, we've had a lot of emails about that recently.
We're not talking about play dates like you had when you were a kid. This is a different style of dating.
It is different. So the question has come up several times in emails about when someone should date. And obviously, I think your families will probably have a pretty good feeling about when they think you're ready to date, and sort of the progression of, liking boys in elementary school, which, happens to every little girl. You see a little boy and your heart flutters a little bit, or you think, oh, I kind of like him, or what would it be to like someone? And that's kind of where it starts usually, I don't know, different for everyone, but maybe 3rd, 4th grade, you start sort of having some of those thoughts, and 5th, 6th grade, sometimes you hear things about kids going together, which really means you just said, I like you.
I think you're cool.
And it just kind of ends there, usually. I mean, it's maybe a little gift passed back and forth between, the boy or girl at some point, or a note, or you chat online with them or something like that. But it's really the beginning of just understanding what those feelings are like and getting a sense for what, just the sweetness of that age of a boy and a girl.
Right.
And when you're still in elementary school, really, it shouldn't be much more than just sort of, if you feel like it, voicing it or passing a little note or, chatting online with each other or something like that. Because really, you're just sort of discovering the beginnings of some of those feelings. And it certainly shouldn't be the focus of your life is, being kind of boy crazy and, always looking for boys and always looking for a boy to like you and all that kind of thing.
And I want to interject and say that when you're talking about chatting online with them, just be very careful of what you put in writing.
Well, that's a really good point, because honestly, anything that you put down is going to be passed on, more than likely.
Right, so you put something in the writing that you think he's going to maybe not share with other people, and there's going to come a time when, guess what, it's going to get shared with other people. So be very, very careful what you put in writing.
Boys are one thing in elementary school, say up through 6th grade. But the emotions change for a boy, the focus and the intentions and all those things change for a boy. Usually by the time they enter 7th grade, now they have hormones that are entering into the picture. So whereas I would think that a lot of boys in elementary school are probably not that super different from girls in what they're looking for, they're just looking for another girl to say they're cute or that they like them or what, and they're okay with all the distance. It's just okay to have the words or to have the glance, or you sit next to them during art, or something like that. All of those things are just fine. By 7th grade, a boy has hormones, and just like a girl starts her cycle, a boy has this flux of hormones that then change how he thinks about girls. And so that happens so kind of suddenly that I think it's easy for girls to assume that boys are still the boys they were in 5th and 6th grade, and by 7th grade they're really not that anymore. You know what I'm saying?
I know what you're saying.
One of the things to consider is sort of how much of a focus on boys is there in your friendship circle. And if it's a major part of your circle, the whole feeling really boy crazy and everyone's always talking about what boy they like and all of that, you might want to either look for another circle to hang out with, or you might just want to gently guide them into other conversations, because I think that when you put too much attention and too much focus on always, looking just right or being attractive enough, or everything's focused on beauty and how that other guy's getting that other guy to notice you, then I think you're setting yourself up for a life that isn't really very balanced and that could really sort of catapult you into situations that maybe you're not ready for at a pretty young age.
That's true.
Would you say that's true?
I would say that's very true.
The whole boy experience in your middle school years, say, or even beyond, honestly, if you could keep it to 10%, and I mean, think about the whole you, your whole life until now was much bigger than imagining a boy and who would like you and who wouldn't like you.
Right.
And so if anything, it should be even greater once you get older and you start to recognize boys. That shouldn't become the biggest thing in your life. And if you're a young teen, or even up through 18, 20, whatever, you have so many amazing things that are going to be coming into your life. You're learning new things about yourself all the time. You may discover all of a sudden you love photography or art or writing or, you know, a million things. And this is the time to explore that. I mean, you're young and you have time and you're preparing for college and you're thinking about your future. So all of these things should be the 90% of your life, and learning how to have healthy friendships and learning how to put boundaries on relationships that aren't good for you, and even just discovering sort of the behavior of boys and how to be a friend to a boy, how to talk to a boy, all those kinds of things. This whole time, up through 18 in particular, is just a big time of discovery and
self-discovery.
Self-discovery, really. And you can have a great experience of growing up if your focus is on the right things during these years. And friendships, I think, are a huge part of that, because if all your friends are about boys all the time, then that's where your focus is going to be. And if your friends are thinking, I want to go to college, and I want to travel, and I want to have adventures, and I want to, you know, I really want to be great academically, you know, if their focus is on that, then you'll tend to kind of go in the same direction.
Right.
And so it's really important who you surround yourself with in your teenage years.
No, I discovered boys in high school. Yeah, I had a steady boyfriend in high school. And, you know, went to all the dances and stuff like that, but it wasn't like my focus.
Right.
I wouldn't purposely wear something thinking that the boy that I was trying to impress would like that, because I wouldn't even know what that looked like. Well, I just wasn't good at that. I guess because I wasn't good at it, it wasn't my focus, so I kind of tended to focus on things that I was good at.
Yeah.
So
I was your opposite. So I thought about that a fair amount, probably more than I should have. And I think part of it was, like, your growing experience was with lots of boys, surrounded with lots of boys.
Right.
And my siblings were all a lot older than I was. So by the time I was 5, they were with people they were going to marry.
Right.
So I was seeing in all, you know, in my siblings above me that they were dating, you know, they were hanging out. By the time I was, you know, 12, they started getting married, or maybe even younger than that, 10, 11. Somewhere in there, they were getting married. And so it wasn't like, you know, I was still playing games with my siblings and stuff. I was the younger one, and I was experiencing much older things, and they were all great examples, but they were just a lot older. So, you know, by the time I was 5 years old, I had a boyfriend. You know, I'm in kindergarten, I come home, oh yeah, my boyfriend is so-and-so. My parents are like, you know, stop. So I found that early on, I was learning what attracted boys and how to manipulate that, and lots of flirting, and just assumed it should be a big part of my life, and was never kind of really told, no, it doesn't really need to be that big a part of your life. And so so I did kind of learn the hard way in some ways that too much of that early on is, you know, can be problematic to how you think about yourself and you know, how you interact with the opposite sex.